Okay, hey Bryan, thank you so much for joining me today and discussing, being a happy franchisee. I think that you can bring a lot of experience and help to our, people that are listening that are thinking about become a franchisee. Let me just bring up my um, what I have a couple slides.
Okay.
Oops. All right, so, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Therese McGroarty. I am a franchise consultant. I am a multi-unit franchise owner. Back in the day, I owned three Shell stations. Also, a multi-brand franchise owner. My husband and I owned Shell stations, and then we also owned a Goodyear. I have been a franchise consultant for over 10 years. I can't believe it. Actually, I'm heading into 12 years of being a consultant. And I am an active member of various nonprofit boards, mostly North Coast Job Seekers, North Canton Executive Networking Group, St. Francis Xavier, and then just most recently, I have jumped on a committee of the Butterfly Project. Not sure if many of you know about that, but it is a wonderful group of people that are actually help people that are addicted to drugs and spread Narcan, kind of hang it out there on street lights and things like that so that it's available for people that need it. Um, and today I have Bryan Chaye joining us. He is an owner of Assisting Hands, multi-territory owner, a veteran, Rotarian. Did I spell that right and say it right?
You
Rotarian
did, yes.
award member and an Assisting Hands award winner. And we will give Bryan a chance to share about all of those things in a couple seconds. So I just want you to know who FranNet is. We are a 38-year-old international franchise consulting firm. So we operate also in Canada with 100 plus locally based franchise consultants. I think that that is one of our secret sauce. Yes, I can help people all over the United States, but it's really nice to help people right here in my backyard and be able to promote them, encourage them, and just watch them grow. That is really one of my joys. And we actually partner with SCORE and SBTC, which are two wonderful nonprofits that help people that are thinking about business ownership or are in business ownership and help them grow. What does FranNet do? We match prospects with franchisors. We educate prospects on the opportunities in business ownership. A lot of times people think, oh, Jimmy John's, maybe we should have another Jimmy John's. We don't have enough of those. We don't have enough sub shops in any particular city. And to just show you that there are many other opportunities and to use your transferable skills. We offer you choices so that you can make informed decisions. I think that by exploring more than one franchise, you have the ability to ask questions of different franchises and hear questions that other potential franchisees might be asking, and you get to learn. We pre-screen, so important. We pre-screen our franchisors that we allow into our inventory. So, in other words, the things that we ask our clients to do, we have already done. We call the franchisees, we ask them, you know, the most important questions. Would you do it again? What do you think of your franchise or all the things that they say? Are they true? Most important is we don't sell franchises. Really, what we do is we help people explore the opportunity. I consider myself more of a coach or a quarterback, just helping people um, to asking, helping you with questions and just making sure that you are doing your due diligence. The other thing that I always forget to mention is that we don't cost anything, which is really all it costs you then to explore a business opportunity is a little bit of time. This is a whole lot of words, but I just would like you to know again that our goal is not ever to convince you that franchise ownership is what you need to do. Our goal is just to show you the opportunities, help you understand the pros and cons of owning your own business, and guide you through the process that will help you make informed decisions. But this is our 10-step client promise. Oops. So we're just going to go back here and I'm going to stop sharing for a little bit. Um, right, there we go. So, Bryan, thank you so much. How about you just start with telling us about your most recent conference and your awards that you got from Assisting Hands, and how long have you been a franchisee? Oops, you're muted.
Sorry, I joined the Assisting Hands franchise back in 2020. I did go through Therese and FranNet. Um, uh, Started in the middle of COVID. Was definitely had some challenges, but this past year, at our national convention, which was held in Colorado Springs this past month, I was recognized as one of the franchise's top performers. I also received an award for my service to veterans in my community. As a retired veteran, it was really important to me to get involved and give back to the veteran community. And I'm also involved with the Rotary Club of Strongsville, where once again last month I was recognized and received an award for the service I did. So that was really um, encouraging and great to get the recognition.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you don't do it for the recognition. I know for you it's really just to give back is a sense of fulfillment for you. And that was one of the things that when you first came to me that we had talked about was that you really wanted to give back. And that's one of the things that I love about you. And I'm so happy to see that the fruits of your labor are paying off and in 5 years, which I know isn't a short amount of time. But again, saying you started in COVID, I can remember coming over to your office during that COVID time. It was a little crazy. So one of the questions, one thing that I want people to know is Bryan and I did not practice for this. I like it to be real and authentic, and truthful. And I know that Bryan won't sugarcoat anything either. One thing is that people forget business ownership isn't for the faint of heart, right? It's hard work, it's hard effort, but the rewards are usually good. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about first thing, because I've heard this a lot lately, is people don't realize that there are other opportunities. Surprises me, other than McDonald's or French fries, subs, and pizza. And so then they kind of think that they can't afford it. So what made you just even decide and that you could afford
Oh,
it?
so yeah, I'm sorry. So I'll share a little bit about my story before meeting Therese. I was 24 years military. A little over 10 of that was active duty. The rest was Guard and Reserve. I worked as a network engineer for a phone company. Retired in 2016 from the military. 2018, the phone company re what do you
Reorganize?
call it? They no. They outsourced our entire department. So all of a sudden they brought us all into a room and told us that our jobs were being outsourced to Kosovo, and there were 100 plus of me in Northeast Ohio with very similar skill sets looking for a job. So that's how I met Therese, was through a professional, or I'm sorry, executive networking group that we were both involved with. After about a year of looking for employment and during that time, the 2019, 2020, we all know what happened. And after about a year and a half of being, well, after about a year of being underemployed or unemployed, I was working with a score counselor who had me come up with a couple business plans. I shared that with Therese and told her I was weighing my options of starting a new business. And that I was interested in seeing what the franchise world had to offer. So yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So, Yeah, I no, yes and no. I guess so you came in with an open mind, not thinking um really anything about money. I don't even remember how we talked about money, but just how did you realize that it was affordable for you?
So, well, through you, I discovered that there's different programs out there, and I was able to take advantage of one called the um, Benetrends has it. They call it the Rainmaker Fund, and it's utilizing your 401k to invest in your business. So instead of withdrawing money from your 401k and having to pay penalties on it, I found out that I was able to create my own company, create my 401k for that company, invest my money directly into the company, and I was able to use that money to start. So um, it was a redirecting my retirement account that I didn't even know was possible in a way that wasn't heavily penalized and made the franchise affordable for me.
Okay, excellent. Um, so how about we just start with why I know I showed you several concepts. I don't even remember what the
Mhm.
other ones were, but what made you choose assisting hands?
So there were a couple different business models that I came up with. But when we were looking at franchises, we put those on the back burner. The FranNet process of going through a skills test, a personality test, a goals questionnaire. I did it with my daughter. My daughter runs the business with me, and FranNet was able to look and see um, where our skills and values overlapped and what would be good business models. So during the process, we looked at, I want to say, at least six different industries. And we looked at a couple different models from each industry. So when we looked at assisting hands and we were looking at home care, we looked at a couple different franchises out there. Um, what made me choose assisting hands was just the family values that they had and they really embraced the franchisees. And that's what kept selling me on assisting hands. It was never my first choice. It was but everything else we looked at, it just started making more and more sense. And it fulfilled our goals of being able to get back to the community. So
Yeah, that's one of the things too that I love about you is I can remember when we first talked and I asked you, what did you think your end game was going to be? You know, were you going to start a business to leave as a legacy? Were you thinking about resale? Or, kind of like my business, where at the end of the day, I don't really have anything to sell, but I make, my money
hmm.
during owning the business. And you said, you thought probably resale. And then the next day you call me and I talked to my daughter and I think rather than uh, leaving a legacy to her, we're just going to go into business together. And I just love the fact that the two of you have worked hand in hand. I know she's had some times where she's out having grandbabies and stuff like that, but she's really been a great partner for you. And
She
your wife
has.
too.
And my wife too. Yeah, my wife was really involved in the early days because she's the director of the nursing labs at the local community college, Tri-C. And so during COVID, she was working from home. So home became our office, and um, she spent a lot of time helping us develop our processes and policies and get our gears turning.
Yeah, that's great. So, what were you hoping that franchising, buying a franchise, would bring to your life?
Well, of course, I mean, everybody says the financial opportunity, which of course it's there. Um, but it has really opened up my ability to get out in the community and meet people and make that difference, which is um, the one thing that kept popping up in the importance level for my daughter and I both was being able to leave a legacy of not just a business and money to my family, but something that'll make a difference in the
Yeah. And what would you say, so I know that that has done it, just by the rewards that you got. Um, but financially, has it been rewarding too?
It has. It was a little slow starting off. Once again, COVID really limited our ability to go out there and solicit business and get our name out there at first. So, but the first year was kind of slow. And yeah, we were up until about that 2 year mark. It was a little hairy at times. So,
Yeah.
um, got a lot of support, more from fellow franchisees, which is, I have found the most rewarding part of being a franchisee is having a team of 100 and something other owners that
Yeah.
have been through it before, that can give you that advice, that can and encouragement when you need it. So, we've gotten really close with a group of franchisees. We all bought in about the same time, and we've all been growing our business together, and it's been the best part of the franchise.
I think so too. I that's one of the things that I love about what we do at FranNet is you have that franchise support you can call. Like you said, we have probably over 100 people that I could call to
Mhm.
and say, and but yet we have that small core group that we meet every other week and just have an hour of conversation about business. What are you doing? What am I doing? And how can we help each other and serve the community better? One of the things that I also love about you is that I see you helping other franchisees starting. We have a friend, Christopher Gentry, who also just started his assisting hands a couple years ago, and I see that you have been really a big support to him, and I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
he's been great to work with. He's a great guy. It's a pleasure to be able to refer people to him.
yeah,
Yeah. And it makes your like it helps build the brand in the area and the recognition in the area, having strong partners and neighbors. So
so that is a good segue into that next question. A lot of times people consider that the guy next door is their competition, and you know, I don't see that with you and Chris and other franchisees. What would you say about that?
um I think that's been the nicest thing about this business area as a whole. When you get into the elder care profession, most people are in it because they want to help and serve others and help take care of others. So you lose a lot of that competition you get, not with other types of businesses, I would say. Um, we have our niche. We have what we're good at, and we know what we're not good at. But I've got plenty of other professionals in this area, whether it's another franchise that does similar type work, or whether it's Chris and Summit. But just building that network, and I get referrals from my competition, and I give referrals to my competition, if you want to call it. But yeah, it's such a relief in this industry, just the collaboration that you have between most people in the industry as a whole.
Yeah, it's a giver's gain mentality, right?
Mhm.
And because I know we were at a networking meeting and you kind of shocked me when you said, "Oh yeah, I refer work to that guy all the time because he doesn't mind
Yep.
night work and I'm not crazy about night work." And I went, "Oh, well, I mean, I think that that's
Right.
amazing." Um, so how about you tell people what does a typical day in the life look like for you?
Well, I don't know
There
what a
is no
typical
typical
day is,
day.
Therese. So as we've grown as a business, there's been a lot of things that I've been able to hire people to do, if you will. So when we first started, my day would start at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. That's when a lot of the network groups get together, whether it's a BNI, whether it's a chamber of commerce. I'm involved with several elder care specific networking groups. So that's when you build the relationships with the other businesses and you meet the other business owners. Um, Early on, it was hard when it was just my daughter and I, because your phone starts ringing at 7:30 with caregivers calling in sick, or you never knew what your day was going to hold. There were a lot of 12, 13-hour days when I first started, and we're trying to figure this business out. Nowadays, it's nowhere near as bad. I've got a team of people working for me, so or with me, I should say, not necessarily for me. So it really has relieved quite a bit of that. But I spend most of my time doing the business to business type marketing and relationship growing. Um, Once again, I mean, in this type of business, it's a personal business. Somebody always needs to be available on call. There's always issues that are happening with your senior community, whether it's somebody going into a hospital or a lot of times you get those last minute calls from the adult child saying, "Hey, mom's coming home tomorrow. We need care," and we don't even know where to start. So, it's a lot of times you find yourself dropping what you're doing and helping out the families and making sure that mom's taken care of when she gets home from the hospital the next day. So it can
Yeah,
be hectic.
yeah, but the nice thing is that you have grown it into being really an executive leader,
Mhm.
where you do have people working for you again in 5 short years, which I know the years appeared long, but the days were long. But here we are, and you're an executive leader now, and I think that that's wonderful, and using one of the traits that you have from being in the Army and learning how to be a leader. What parts of the business do you enjoy the most?
Um, Going and meeting the clients, especially my veteran clients. About 90% of my clients at this point are through the VA, they're veteran clients. And I always go out and participate on the intake and meet them and their family. And I love sitting down and talking to the veterans about what they did during their service. So that's my favorite part. We're currently taking care of 100-year-old sorry, 100-year-old World War II veteran. He's
Wow.
the third centurion we've had, and it's just amazing to hear their stories that a lot of times they won't even share with their families. But I go in there and let them know my background, and a lot of times they'll open up. So
Yeah.
that's the great part. Um, and
Just
there's
curious,
yeah,
do you
yeah.
record any of those, or do you ever ask if you
I
could?
don't. We've looked at a couple different programs that are out there that are like memory books that the caregivers can do with the clients to kind of get to know them and lead for the family. Haven't done it yet, but yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, especially just since they're
Yeah,
telling you things that they haven't even told their family because it's too hard. I know some of those
right.
war stories are too hard, but their family would like to know. And yeah, just curious.
Yep. No, I haven't.
Okay.
So,
What would you say is your least favorite thing about being a business owner?
um, what is my least favorite? That's a good question. See, now I wish I would have had the questions beforehand.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's all right. I mean, as a business owner, there's always going to be issues that need to be resolved. There's always going to be, you're going to have clients that aren't happy with their service or happy with the caregiver, and stuff happens. And I mean, you can't hide from it. You got to head it face on, and it's not always the most comfortable thing to do. But yeah, it's usually by the time it gets to me, it's a fairly serious issue. If my nurse and my daughter can't solve it, and um, we haven't had any major incidences, but there's been a couple that make you know
Yeah.
question why am I doing this, but
Yeah.
you know why you're doing it. It's just like any business. You've got that small, couple incidences or people that just make it
A little more
difficult.
challenging than
Yeah,
necessary.
there you go. We call them leadership challenges in the Army.
Leadership
So.
challenge. How would you say the franchisor has supported your business?
So the reason I went franchise, I shouldn't say the reason. The one thing that kept weighing on me was I had a really strong operations background in the military. Um, my daughter had a managerial position at the company she was with, so she had a good operations and management background. But we had no background in sales and marketing. So that was key early on, was getting that kind of support. And I know every franchise is different as far as what they offer and what they have. One of the things I really liked about Assisting Hands is that they have all the materials there for you. They'll update it. They'll teach you how to use them. Um, so that was the most important thing for me that I got from the franchise was that support early on. And it's been a growing franchise. I think I was franchisee number 70 something, and now we've got I don't even know. It's just like we over 200 territories, so
Oh, wow.
we've grown quite large. It's 130 owners, I think,
Mhm.
in 100 and almost 200 territories. So as the franchise has grown, they've gotten I hate to say more organized, but they've got more things that they're offering now. So they've got different marketing initiatives that we've been able to participate in, more national service agreements that we were able to participate in. So that's been as far as the franchisor, just their ability to help me market and get those the literature together and um, yeah.
Yeah. So I hope you don't mind me bringing this up. I know at one point you were a little unhappy. And
Uh-huh.
I'm curious, how did you overcome that?
Um, it's a relationship. It's an investment that you've made. Um, and just for those of you who don't know, one of the things that the franchise had told me early on was if there was ever an adjacent territory that was being looked at or possibly to be sold, that they would notify me first. That didn't happen, but the CEO was felt like he was honest with me, told me what happened, apologized profusely, um, and we were able to work it out and yeah, so just being patient. I mean, it's like a you're buying a I hate to say you're buying your way into a family, but it's a family and it's a business relationship, and it's um, there's going to be things you don't like, but you need. I mean, just like in marriage, there's things that happen, and you just need to work your way through it. So, it's yeah, my feelings were hurt,
Yeah.
but obviously not too hurt because since then I've bought the two additional territories and I'm doing well. So
Yeah, you are doing well, and I think that that's one of the things that I it makes me happy and proud, right? Is that you are the kind of person that continues, I know you wouldn't have walked away, but you decided I'm going to figure out a way to be unhurt and move
yep,
on. And because a bad attitude can affect a business in a terrible way. And you have continued to grow and be a supporter to other people. And I think that that's important. And when franchisees call you, or potential franchisees, I should say, and they're validating whether or not they want to um, be part of assisting hands. Um, do you look at it too as that you're interviewing them as much as they're kind of interviewing you?
yes, I for sure. There's been times I've given feedback to the national team about potential franchisees. If something really comes up that I feel is going to I don't want to say hurt the brand, but hurt my brand. Like I'm tied to assisting hands as much as they're tied to me, and those new franchisees coming in, especially if they're in our general area, what they do it gets reflected on me.
Yeah.
We share a name and we share the assisting hands family of franchise owners, and so yeah, I just try to educate them on the business and that it has its ups and downs and um, make sure that I think the one thing that really stands out to me in this business is if you don't have a heart to serve, there's a lot of easier uh, business models out there. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's the
Well,
one thing I always share with them.
it is, and you definitely have a heart to serve. And I think that that's the other thing about that people don't realize about franchise business ownership is that you are joining a family, that it is a marriage, and that um, you guys as a franchisee, you want people coming in that are going to help the brand shine because every time it doesn't, it is a reflection on you. It's one of the things I try to educate people on too, is that okay, great, you have the money to buy the franchise. That doesn't mean that the franchise should be awarded to you. You need to
Right.
like the culture. And that is one of the things that I try to educate people about is the culture.
And I think a lot of franchises have picked up on that. There's quite a few of them out there now there where it's not just you interviewing the franchisor and finding out if you want to be involved in the business. They're looking at you just as closely to figure out if you're going to be a good advocate for their business brand. So
Yeah. I think 30, 40 years ago, maybe it was like that. They'd take your money,
yeah.
but not so much anymore. Um, and you know, how has owning this franchise changed your lifestyle?
Well, for the first couple of years, it was tough. It wasn't quite the windfall I was expecting right away. But I mean, there's plus and minuses. I mean, it's given us the financial freedom to be back where we were. When I was laid off from my network engineering job, I had two kids in college, so it was not an easy financial time. It's definitely given us that. But you're also it's hard to get away. You've got a business, and it's not like when you work for someone, it's easy to tell them I'm going on vacation for a week or two. When it's your business, you never quite get away from it. So it's been great having my daughter work with me. She's able to, I'm able to get away from time to time. She's able to cover, and I know it's somebody who has just as much vested interest in the business doing well as me. Um, but you're never, that's the biggest change in lifestyle is that you can never be unreachable or too far away. So,
Yeah.
um,
But you still got to enjoy some milestones. I know I saw you go watch your son's
I
swim
did.
meets
Yeah.
and all of
Yeah.
those.
So my son was a college swimmer and, he traveled all over the Midwest and we were able to, get out and watch him swim in almost every event. Once again, because I had my daughter back home, but, yeah, it definitely afforded us a lifestyle where we could help the kids once again and do stuff like that. So,
Yeah. What advice would you give to future potential franchisees?
um, I would tell them to, man, don't limit yourself. I looked at several things that you presented to me, thinking this, I can't see myself doing it until you sit down and really look at the business models. The FranNet system works. If she's presenting it to you, there's a reason.
Mhm.
So, I think that's part of doing your due diligence is really digging into the different franchise models that are out there and finding the ones that'll fit your skill set, your lifestyle that you want to live, and yeah, just be open minded through it. I think the hardest thing. So I was a little pain. Dan Durney is our developmental guy, and he kept asking me if I was done doing my validation calls, and I was on validation call 14 or 15. He's like, usually people call, maybe five, six, maybe so, a few more. He wanted to know why I was doing so many validation calls, and I said, Dan, I was determined to keep doing validation calls till I found one person who had something negative to say about the assisting hands franchisor. And I said, I'll be damned if I can find anybody who's got anything substantial. Like this is like, so I think it was after 15 or 16, I finally quit calling people and, yeah, so just be persistent, do your due diligence. Don't be in a rush because, it matters. You're signing most franchises, you're signing a pretty significant agreement. Ours is 10 years and yeah, don't rush into it.
Yeah, don't write. Okay. And so how could what what would you say or how could someone know maybe that they could be a happy franchisee? Do you think there's some characteristics that people need to have or
Well, I think that there's probably a franchise for just about everybody. I think you have to know what level of support you want. There's some franchises that you really that there's You're on a railroad track and you can't sway off of it. There's this is the track you follow. This is exactly how you do everything. I think you see that a lot, especially in like maybe the fast food franchise types.
Mm.
This is the model you're doing. I don't didn't want that. I wanted guidance, and I found a franchise that they pride themselves in saying we give you guardrails, but we don't tell you which roads to take.
Mm.
They give you the advice, and really, it's I'm not micromanaged by the franchisor level. So I
Yeah.
think just taking your time and knowing what you're looking for, how much help you want, how much control you want versus the franchisor. There's a lot of different factors, but I think there's a model out there for most people.
So, does anyone have any questions before we wrap this up? I know I asked all the questions, but in case anyone has any, I just would like to, I did not want to put your phone number on here. Um,
You
so
can,
if you
let's
have
see.
any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. I'm doing a bad job of getting to my next slide. Um, well, at any rate, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Therese McGroarty, and Bryan Chaye. Oh, we have a question. Um, well, thank you, and you are very welcome, Christy. So, thank you for doing this today, and thank you for watching and attending, and we'll talk with you soon. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me, Therese.
Hey, thanks, Bryan. Talk to you later.
Uh-huh.